everybody, I'm Scott Lash. I'm here with Erin Lawrence. Erin, where'd she go? Oh, she's feeding the goats or the pigs. We're here to join with you wonderful ACs and ASNs to share with you and talk a little bit about what is probably the hallmark or the keystone of parent education resources, the Parent Toolkit. Super exciting stuff. And we're also going to talk a little bit about ECHO, the enrollment process, and the benefits of ECHO. So welcome. The Parent Toolkit is designed to help parents understand the building blocks and components working together to help support their child. It describes each step of the program, from eligibility and initial assessment to reauthorizations and ultimately discharge and transition from the program. They'll learn what to expect at 6 months, 1 year, and 2 years while receiving services. They'll also learn how to access other resources such as Military One Source, Medicaid waiver, and then like local, state, and regional resources as well. The Parent Toolkit it's a nice looking document, 39 pages. Super simple the way that it's laid out. Has a nice welcome page. And then it's broken into sections from 1 to 10 for ease of reading and understanding clarity. Section 3 talks about services available to families with ASD. They all qualify for a TRICARE basic plan, and under that plan they get their diagnosis of autism covered, as well as prescription medications and some therapies like speech, occupational, and physical therapy. They also qualify for some supplemental programs as well. The two big ones being Autism Care Demonstration Program and ECHO. There's some other ones as well. We know of EFMP, they get some benefits from that, Military One Source, and Medicaid waiver. ECHO, or the Extended Care Health Option, provides additional resources and supplies that are not available through the basic program. Some of those that we're familiar with are durable medical equipment, diaper service, up to 16 hours of respite care, and hippotherapy. That's just a few of the services that they do qualify for. They also, active duty sponsors that are interested in signing up for ECHO do need to initially register with EFMP or enroll in EFMP. It's a requirement, so there's a two-step process. They get enrolled in EFMP, and then the paperwork gets advanced to ECHO. There is guidance in the Military One Source website for the ECHO and EFMP enrollment and registration. They also have access to that in the TRICARE website as well. Families get the 90 days provisional enrollment in ECHO, and all paperwork needs to be submitted within that 90 days and actually completed enrollment, or else they do not qualify for ACD at that time.
Guys, I don't know how Scott does that all day, every day. Oh my gosh, those chickens and goats like to kill me. I would much rather be talking about the benefits of the autism care demonstration. So despite my appearance, we're gonna go ahead and do that. You will have to excuse my extreme makeover. Style by Scott Lash. All right, here we go. Benefits of ACD. Number 1, clearly, is ABA. What's ABA? We all know what ABA is, but ABA provides services that focus on the specific behaviors that affect those kiddos diagnosed with autism. The goal of ABA is to decrease those challenging, those interfering behaviors, and to teach appropriate replacement behaviors, and ultimately to improve their quality of life, not only for the beneficiary, but for their family members, caregivers, all of them. And then the ultimate goal is to reduce or eliminate the need for those direct services. And guys, obviously, it's much more beneficial when that family is very participatory. So as ASNs, it's really important that we encourage that, because the more they use that learned behavior at home, the more they're going to benefit from that ACD. Number 2, guess what that is? It's us, the ASNs. That's right. And to be eligible for an ASN, the beneficiary must have been new to the ACD program as of October 1st, 2021. Or if they enrolled in the ACD prior to October 1, 2021, but they had like a lapse or gap in their ABA services that lasted more than 12 months, then they would also be eligible. Our role as an ASN is to support the beneficiary and the family as their healthcare advocate, helping them navigate this ACD and maximize the services that are available. So let's go over the responsibilities, and it kind of, what I just said, highlights the majority of them, but let's touch on a few of those. Basically, we're gonna be working with families to develop and maintain those CCPs, those care plans, right? We're gonna coordinate medical and mental health care services with the beneficiary's providers. We're going to coordinate and participate in those medical treatment conferences. You guys are all familiar with those. It's a fantastic opportunity for us to all come together, for those providers to come together and talk about how the kiddo is progressing, what do we need to work on, what services do they need, so forth. Helping the beneficiaries who move to the West region, like our PCSs, right? We're going to help with medical appointments and coordination for those moving from the East region, or if they're moving within our region as well. We're going to help families connect with those local resources and supports. We've got Smartsheet, got tons of resources in there, but one of the best things we have here at Accolade, guys, is each other. I've been here for a year now, and I will tell you that your fellow ASNs, particularly the veterans, are fantastic sources to get some of that information to help your beneficiaries. You'd be surprised what all our colleagues know, and lean on each other because they're so supportive here. And basically, you just want to help your child maximize his progress in the ACD, right? Super important. And as you can see, the ASNs are super important. So good luck with that. I'm going to go take a shower because, ew. Hey guys. Welcome to my bathroom. That's right. This is what you get. Because I had to get a shower because chickens and goats are nasty. Thank you, Scott. And I need to get ready for my LSU party. Meanwhile, we need to type into TRICARE authorized ABA provider types. So let's do that really quickly so that I can get ready for my party. Priorities, people. All right, so we'll start with applied behavior analysis supervisors. These guys must have a master's degree or above in a qualifying field and a state license or certification in behavior analysis or psychology for full clinical practice, of course. Or they have to have a certification from the BACB. These guys are going to include your BCBAs, your BCBA doctorals, your LBAs, as well as clinical psychologists. Next, we have the assistant behavior analysts. These guys have to have a bachelor's degree or above in a qualifying field and a state license or certification, or a certification from the BACB or the QABA. These guys are going to include your BCABAs and your QASPSs. Thirdly, we have the behavioral technicians, which we're all very familiar with. These guys must have a current certification from either the BACB, the QABA, Behavioral Intervention Certification Council, really depends on what their title is, before they can apply for TRICARE authorized provider status. And these guys are going to include your RBTs, your ABATs, your BCATs, your BTs, all of those things. Lastly, we got to talk about the service delivery models. There's two types. First, we have the sole provider model, which basically in this provider model, all ABA services come from an authorized ABA supervisor with that master's degree or higher that we just talked about. Then the second model is called a tiered model. And basically those ABA services come from a team of providers led by that authorized ABA supervisor. And that support team can include assistant behavior analysts, BTs, that sort of thing. So there you go. There's your ABA provider types. TRICARE authorized. I'm gonna go dry my hair now. Hey guys, sorry my mouth's full. It's gumbo. That's right, it's Dumbo Gumbo. See my tigers on TV back there? So we gotta get to this, wrap it up, because I'm having an LSU party here at my house, and I gotta get to it, right? All right, so what do we need to cover? We need to cover the ACD participation. So what does the beneficiary need? Well, first of all, obviously, a definitive ASD diagnosis, right? And that could be from probably their pediatrician, whether it be an MD or a nurse practitioner, pediatric family medicine, any specialized ASD diagnosing provider. That could be developmental, behavioral, or neurodevelopmental pediatrics as well, pediatric neurology, child psychiatry, clinical psychologist, and specific board certified DMPs as well, right? Okay, so then that TRICARE authorized ASD diagnosing and referring provider must submit a referral and a diagnostic eval to Health Net. And some of the specifics that have to be included in that referral are going to be clearly that diagnosis we just talked about, the date of the diagnosis, the DSM-5, the VAT, that sort of thing, okay? In addition, when applicable, they will receive provisional registration into ECHO for up to 90 days, during which that time they can continue to access the ECHO benefit and continue the process of initiating ABA services under the ACD. But if they do not submit the proof of that EFMP enrollment, unless they have a waiver, within those 90 days, they will be disenrolled from ECHO and will no longer be eligible for ABA services. If they lose the eligibility for ABA services between the expiration of that 90-day provisional period and the registration into ECHO, the Autism Service Coordinator will continue to support them for an additional 90 days. However, if after that 180 days ECHO registration has not been completed, they will no longer be eligible for ACD. So it's very important, right? Okay. So now we're reaching enrollment. Once Health Net has verified all that diagnostic criteria has been met, and that kiddo can officially be enrolled in the ACD. And I can officially go watch my Tigers. Go Tigers. Bye.
Section 7 is receiving services under the ACD. And step 1 is getting referrals for ABA. HealthNet has 5 days to process a referral once it's received. The referrals last for 2 years. At 6 months from the end of that 2-year cycle, families can request an authorized provider to submit the new referral. New referrals require an updated DSM-5 checklist as long as the referral from the authorized provider. HealthNet has 15 days from receiving the referral to begin the process of looking for an ABA provider. What they do is their process is they look in a 60-mile radius, and the first ABA provider that they find that meets criteria, they will send a request for ABA for them. And that ABA provider has 45 days to actually complete the initial assessment. Though I should say the ABA provider, once they are assigned, they should contact the family within 3 days to schedule the initial assessment with the family. So those dates, the 5-day requirement, the 15 for HealthNet to begin the process of looking for ABA, the 45 days for ABA provider to complete the initial assessment. Those are all access to care standards, so HealthNet, they're bound to those, so that's why it's very important that we keep a close eye on those. The second step for this access to getting care is the initial assessment. So that is how the ABA provider develops their treatment plan. What they do is they look at the family history, the child's history, the outcome measures, the Vineland and the PDD-BI, and a few whatever direct observation, and then they devise the initial assessment, or excuse me, the treatment plan off of that. Outcome measures can be are going to be sent to the ABA provider directly, or they can actually be administered or sent to authorized to another third-party ABA provider, and those can be completed online or in like an email or remotely anyhow. This next part is about step 3 is getting authorized for ABA services. It's super fun info. I can't memorize this, so I'm going to be a little dry and do some reading, but it's important stuff. So once the initial assessment is complete, the ABA provider will submit the request for treatment to HealthNet. The first step is the clinical necessity review. That takes up to 5 business days. HealthNet is looking at the complete treatment plan, outcome measures. They look at a list of criteria. If all went perfect at that stage, then it would be authorized. They would send authorization to be done. So that's 5 days. However, we all know that it takes sometimes more than just that 5 days, probably usually takes more than that, and which would bring us to the clinical consultation step, which takes about 10 days, or it takes up to 10 days. And that is when HealthNet needs additional information, that AIR that we see in Care Radius. And that's kind of a back and forth with the treatment plan between ABA and HealthNet. ABA provider, they have 10 days to submit the additional information requested, or the request is canceled. The third step is the resubmission of additional information requested, that AIR, and that is another 5 days. So we're at 20 days, if my math serves me correctly. And HealthNet completes the final clinical necessity review and makes coverage determination by the 5th business day when all the information is received. That's total days to get to authorization would be 25. And then the service settings are decided by HealthNet. That's based on the target core ASD symptoms, excuse me, and those environments and settings that they can be in would include the home setting, which could be all ABA providers. Centers and clinics can be all ABA provider types. School settings can only be supervisors, so BCBA or somebody in the supervisor position for a school setting for receiving ABA, and an IEP is required for that. If it is a homeschooler, they have to have their ABA outside of the homeschool hours that they have assigned to them. Daycares for ABA can be all provider types, and community setting, there are exclusions that would apply to that. However, it can be all ABA provider types as well. And then telemedicine is really just for medical team conferences, and that has to be supervised. Step 4 is receiving ABA services. The treatment authorizations are approved for 6 months. New authorization request for continuing care between 60 and 30 days before the end of the current 6-month authorization. And the access to care standards are the ABA providers must start the child's ABA treatment within 28 days from the last day of the initial assessment. The first parent training session must be within 30 days of treatment authorization approval, and a minimum of 6 parent training sessions in 6 months. And ABA supervisors must complete a direct visit at least 1 time per month to modify the program and make changes based on the beneficiary's progress. Parent training gives parents the opportunity to apply ABA from what they've learned from providers in the home setting so that they can target specific behaviors with their child. Then there's a brief point about the opportunity for parents to change ABA providers. They can do that at any time for any reason, if that's their preference. There's a brief note about referral cycle dates, that's a 2-year referral. So if treatment plan and that ACD referral cycle coincide, they need to make sure that they have a new authorization for ACD during that treatment plan. And then discharge planning is addressed where, again, ABA provider will be evaluating throughout the continuum of the child receiving ABA, and when it's deemed that they're ready to graduate from the ACD program, they'll write up and submit to HealthNet a discharge plan. Then let's see here, CCPs are discussed. We all know what those are, but it gives parents an understanding as to what the tool of CCP is for and how it benefits them. And then Section 9 and Section 10 are really the ones that wrap it up. Section 9 is provides ACD resources and contact information, and Section 10 is really abbreviations, acronyms, just kind of helps them get the lingo and the terminology down as to all those that we use in our jobs. So kind of losing my voice. It's been a long day getting this done, but it's been fun. I hope you guys learned something out of this. I think Aaron deserves an Academy Award. So thanks for your attention and listening.